Shamavita Bhakta Vrindaki, Itai Gaura Premanandi, all glories to the assembly of those, all glories to the assembly of those, all glories to the assembly of those, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada.
श्री गुरु वंदन का अनुवाद। हमारे गुरुदेव के चरण कमल ही एकमात्र साधन है जिनके द्वारा हम शुद्ध भक्ति प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। मैं उनके चरण कमलों में अत्यंत भक्ति एवं श्रद्धा पूर्वक मस्तक होता हूँ। उनकी कृपा से जीव भौतिक क्लेशों के महासागर को पार कर सकते हैं, कृष्ण की कृपा प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। मेरी एकमात्र इच्छा है कि उनके मुख कमल से निकले और अपनी चेतना शुद्ध करूं। उनके चरण कमलों में अनुराग ऐसी सिद्धि है जो समस्त अनुराग पूर्ण करती है। वे मेरी बंधनों को खोलते हैं, मेरे हृदय में दिव्य ज्ञान भरते हैं। जन्म जन्मांतर में वे मेरे प्रभु हैं। वे प्रेम भक्ति प्रदान करते हैं और अविद्या का नाश करते हैं। वे शास्त्र उनके चरित्र का गान करते हैं। हे गुरुदेव, हे प्रभुपाद, करुणा सिंधु आत्माओं के मित्र, आप सबके गुरु एवं सभी लोगों के जीवन हैं। हे प्रभुपाद, हे गुरुदेव, मुझ पर दया कीजिए, मुझे अपने श्री चरणों की छाया प्रदान कीजिए। आपका यश तीनों लोकों में फैला हुआ है। जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jashudanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamunatira Nachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Ramadava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki, Grantaraj Shri Prabhupada Lilamrita Ki, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki, Jai Gaura Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the Prabhupada Lilamrita, Chapter 2, London, a dream fulfilled. Who is translating? You don't need, okay. This is London, September 11, 1969. How do I read? You, okay. How do we do this? Okay, I'll just read a paragraph. Maybe you can translate the paragraph. With the cooperation of Apple Records and Lufthansa German Airlines, the devotees arranged a reception for Prabhupada at London's Heathrow Airport. Huh? Huh? Okay. As soon as Prabhupada descended the stairs of the airplane, he was escorted to a car and driven to a VIP lounge. Bypassing the formalities of immigration and customs, as Prabhupada stepped from the car, the devotees ran out of the terminal and offered obeisances on the wet pavement, while Prabhupada looked down on them smiling. The devotees rose, brushing wet macadam from their dhotis and saris, and joyfully surrounded Prabhupada as he entered the lounge. Inside the terminal, Prabhupada confronted a mass of reporters and cameramen and several dozens friends of devotees. A clean cloth covered one of the lounge sofas, and vases with yellow gradual lotuses set on either side. Prabhupada walked over to the sofa and sat down, and Shamasundar garlanded him with red and white carnations. Prabhupada began leading kirtan. The devotees were all oblivious to all but Prabhupada, and the reporters resigned themselves to simple standing and observing while the devotees sang and danced ecstatically. The eager devotees were unabashed during the kirtan, and their shouts, Haribo and Jai Prabhupada, as well as blast from a conch shell, punctuated the regular chanting of Hare Krishna. After the kirtan, the reporters remained at a distance as Prabhupada spoke affectionately to almost each devotee seated before him. "Where is Janaki?" he asked. "Oh yes, how are you?" "Vibhavati, how is your daughter?" "Actually, you are all my fathers and mothers. You are taking such care." For the devotees, only they and Prabhupada were present in the lounge, and they strained to catch everything he did or said. They couldn't have cared less about any outsider's reaction. Finally, Mukunda invited the reporters to come forward. "If any of you gentlemen have any question, you can ask them of Prabhupada." The reporters moving in, "What do you think of this reception?" Prabhupada: "I'm not very much fond of reception. I want to know how people give reception to this movement. That is my concern." Devotees in unison, Haribo. Reporter: "Is this a very special welcome for you? Or this is a performance you go through each day?" Prabhupada: "No, wherever I go, I have got my disciples. In America, so the American boys are very enthusiastic. I think in Los Angeles and San Francisco, I got a very great reception. In the Ratha Yatra festival, about 10,000 boys and girls followed me for 7 miles. Devotees, Haribo. Sun reporter: What do you try to teach, sir? Prabhupada: I am trying to teach what you have forgotten. Devotees laughing, Haribo, Hare Krishna. Son reporter, which is what? Prabhupada, that is God. Some of you are saying there is no God. Some of you are saying God is dead. And some of you are saying God is impersonal or void. These are all nonsense. I want to teach all the nonsense people that there is God. That is my mission. Any nonsense can come to me, I shall prove that there is God. That is my Krishna consciousness movement. It is a challenge to atheistic people. This is God. As we are sitting here face to face, you can see God face to face. If you are sincere and if you are serious, that is possible. Unfortunately, you are trying to forget God. Therefore, you are embracing so many miseries of life. So I'm simply preaching that you become Krishna conscious and be happy. Don't be swayed by the nonsense waves of Maya or illusion. When a reporter asked if the singing was essential to the sustenance of your faith, Prabhupada answered at length, describing the cleansing effect of the chanting Hare Krishna. He quoted Srimad Bhagavatam's declaration that anyone without God consciousness has no good qualities. Test any of our students, Prabhupada said, how they are good, how they are advanced. Test it. Bring anyone in the world and compare with any of our boys. You will find how different there is in their character and their feelings and their consciousness. If you want a peaceful society, then you must make people God conscious, Krishna conscious. Everything will be automatically resolved. Otherwise, your so-called United Nations will not help. The reporters asked about Billy Graham, the moon landing, the war in Ireland, and the whereabouts of Prabhupada's wife and children. They asked him to turn his head towards them, and they clicked away with their cameras. They thanked him, and the reception dispersed. Prabhupada went from the building to the gleaming white Rolls Royce awaiting him outside, courtesy of John Lennon. Prabhupada entered the back seat and sat cross-legged. The limousine was equipped with darkened windows and lavish interior, including a television. The devotees had become so confused in their existence that none of them had thought to join Prabhupada, and the chauffeur whisked him away to Tittenhurst. Prabhupada sat silently except for his occasionally audible chanting, and the chauffeur headed through the winding roads leading away from the airport. He was in England. His father Gomohan had never wanted him to come to England. Once an uncle had told Gomohan that his son should go to England to become a barrister. But Gomohan had said no. If his son went there, the meat eaters, drinkers, and sex mongers might influence him. But now, 70 years later, Prabhupada had indeed come to London, not to be influenced by the Englishmen, but to influence them. He had come to teach them what they had forgotten. So this is Prabhupada in London. This was devotees went to London in 1969, late in the 60s, and then they met the famous musicians, the Beatles. And then the Beatles got together with the devotees and they did some recording, like we have this Govindam Adipurusham in the morning. That was recorded by the devotees with the Beatles. The person who's playing the guitar there is George Harrison of the Beatles. So that way, Prabhupada came, and then John Lennon, the leader of the Beatles, offered his Rolls Royce to pick up Prabhupada from the airport to his mansion. That's where Prabhupada first stayed when he came to London. Because at that time, devotees didn't have any temple or a center. They were just staying there and there. So that's how ISKCON started in London. And the devotees that went there, they were Grihasthas from America. Jamuna and Gurudas. And there was Shamasunda and Malati and Mukunda. Who was there? Yes, Mukunda and Janaki. That's why Prabhupada, when he came, he says, where is Janaki? So Janaki was the wife of Mukunda. So these were the first devotees that served Prabhupada in New York. Now they were welcoming him in a new yatra in London. So in London, that's how things started, and so many devotees after that joined. Of course, Prabhupada was behind everything in the beginning, and as you see, he's straight. He says, I've come here to teach you that which you have forgotten. What is that? That is God. So that's what Prabhupada's preaching. And he met so many people in America and in UK who were thinking that they were God, and Prabhupada will tell them, you are not God, but you are a servant of God. So in that way, it's very, very inspiring to hear how the movement began in early days. How long should we carry on reading for? As long as I like. This is India. India is timeless. I can stay here for a whole year. Okay, very good. So in that way, this is very inspiring to hear how Prabhupada spread this movement. Initially, one of his relatives suggested that he go and study law in London, and his father objected to that. Because his father imagined having a son who will play mudanga and preach Bhagavatam, not a son who will become a barrister, as many other members of the family thought, which was in line with the prediction at the time of Prabhupada's birth that later he will travel and preach the message of Krishna consciousness. That was predicted by the astrologer at the time of his birth. The astrologer said, this child, upon reaching the age of 70, he will travel and preach Krishna consciousness, which happened. So in that way, we can see how everything that was predicted by the astrologer, it did happen. And just like one astrologer saw Prabhupada's photo, that was later in India. And he said, this person, he has an ability to build a house in which the whole world can live. And then it happened, he built this international society for Krishna consciousness that is accommodating all the nations of the world. We have temples in Russia, we have temples in Africa, we have temples in South America, We have temples in Australia, in New Zealand, Canada, and many, many places, Brazil. So when you go there, you will see, like you go to Brazil, you see only Brazilian devotees. There are no pujaris from India there. In America, you get pujaris imported from India. But in Brazil, everyone is a Brazilian. Even the gurus, all of them are Brazilian. So you realize, yeah, this ISKCON is really an international movement, yeah. And then you go to places like Peru, Chile in South America. All the devotees there are South Americans, yeah. And then you go to Ghana in Africa. All the devotees there are Africans. I went to Nigeria for Ratha Yatra. There were thousands of devotees, but they were all Africans. Yeah. I was thinking, this is powerful. I saw even a king helping Japa. I asked him, how did you become devotee? He told me, I was made by Bhakti Maharaj. So in that way, this movement is very powerful because the movement is only 58 years since 1966. Yeah, we are only 58 years. In 2026, we will be 60 years. So this movement was established when I was going to school, and I'm still young. So it's not so old. It's very young. It's younger than me. Maybe it's older than some of you. Yes. So it's only young movement, but we are in almost every major city in the world. From Moscow to Omsk in Siberia, they are devotees. I've been to those places. Paris, London, Vienna in Austria, Berlin, Germany, Heidelberg, Germany. There are Hare Krishna centers everywhere. So when you travel, you see, yes, it's something very, very, very amazing. So in that way, that was the work of Srila Prabhupada, and then which was taken up by his followers. Okay. So Prabhupada now is in England. He was in, okay. And he was off to a good start under Krishna's special care when he had to live alone in New York City without any money. That had been Krishna's mercy. And now he was entering England in a chauffeured limousine, and also Krishna's mercy. Accepting the ride as part of Krishna's plan, Prabhupada remained deeply fixed in his purpose of carrying out the order of his spiritual master, whatever circumstances awaited. As they turned onto Route 4, proceeding towards Slough, Prabhupada saw factories and warehouses, and then the flat countryside with orchards, fields, and grazing horses. The grey, chilly weather hinted of winter ahead. After about 20 minutes, Prabhupada reached the wealthy neighborhood of Ascot, and soon, appearing on the left, the high redwood fence surrounding the Lennon estate. Prabhupada had arrived before his disciples, but those who had remained at the manor excitedly received him and showed him to his room on the second floor of the servants' quarters. The small room was chilly and damp, with a low table for a desk and wall-to-wall carpeting made from pieces of rug taken from the other rooms. The adjoining room was bare even smaller. Prabhupada sat down at his low desk. "Where is everyone?" he asked. As he leaned back and gazed out the window, he saw rain just beginning to fall. When George, John, and Yoko dropped by after Prabhupada's lunch, Samasunda invited them to come up and meet Prabhupada. George turned to John and asked, "Do you want to go up?" The bearded, bespectacled master of Tittenhurst, hair down to his shoulders, assented. Yoga also was curious, so up they all went to Prabhupada's little room. Smiling graciously behind his desk, Prabhupada asked his guest to enter and be seated. Here were two of the most famous people in England, and Krishna wanted him to speak to them. Prabhupada removed his garland and handed it to Shamasunda, indicating that he should put it around George's neck. "Thank you," said George. "Hare Krishna." Prabhupada smiled. "This is Krishna's blessing." "Hare Krishna," George replied again. "Yes," Prabhupada said, "there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita. Yad yad acharati sheshtas tat tat evataru janaha saya pramanam gurute lokas tat anurvartati." The idea is that anything which is accepted by the leading person, ordinary persons follow them. Yad yad acharati shrestha. Shrestha means leading persons. Acharati means act. Whatever leading persons act, people in general follow them. If the leading person says it is nice, then it is all right. The others also accept it. So by the grace of God, Krishna, you are leaders. Thousands of young men follow you. They like you. So if you give them something actually nice, the face of the world will change. Although George and John were about the same age as most of Prabhupada's disciples, Prabhupada considered them shrestras, respected leaders. "You are also anxious to bring some peace in the world," Prabhupada continued. "I have read sometimes your statements. You are anxious also. Everyone is. Every saintly person should be anxious to bring in peace in the world. But we must know the process," he explained. Peace formula. According to the Bhagavad Gita, only those who recognize the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the proprietor of everything, the object of all sacrifices, and the friend of everyone can find peace. Prabhupada then told the two Beatles even more directly what he had already hinted at. They should learn Krishna consciousness and help teach it to the world. "I request you to at least understand this philosophy to your best knowledge," he said. "If you think it is nice, pick it up. You are also willing to give something to the world. Try this. You have read our books, this Bhagavad Gita, as it is. John, I have read bits of the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know which version it was. There's so many different translations, Prabhupada. There are different translations. Therefore, I have given this edition, Bhagavad Gita, as it is." Prabhupada explained that the material world is a place of misery. Nature is cruel. In America, President Kennedy was taught to be the most fortunate, happy man honored throughout the world. Within a second, Prabhupada loudly snapped his fingers. He was finished. Temporarily, now what is his position? Where is he? If life is eternal, if the living entity is eternal, where he has gone, what is he doing? If he is happy or he is distressed, he is born in America or China, nobody can say. But it is a fact. As living entity, he is eternal, he is existing. Prabhupada explained the transmigration of the soul. Then again, he requested, try to understand it. And if it is nice, you take it up. You are after something very nice. It is my proposal. Is my proposal unreasonable? The two Beatles glanced at one another, but did not answer. Prabhupada gave a soft, amused laugh. You are all intelligent boys, try to understand it. Prabhupada spoke of the importance of music in the Vedas. The Samaveda, he said, is full of music. Followers of Samaveda are always in music. Through musical vibration, they are approaching the Supreme. Then he sang slowly 3 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. Madina Krishna Paradu Satuva Mitu Vipapita Kriyavadanam Adanda Gopi Visatam Tamishram Puna Punascha Vita Chalvaranam Nate Vidu Swata Gatim Hi Vishnu Durasaya Bahirata Manina Anadata Depi Tatisa Urudami Banda Nasamatista Vatukulamuni Pisadanatu Pagamaya Datata Maya Sampada Raja Bhisekam ISKCON Dwarka. Then Prabhupada asked his guest what philosophy they were following. Following, asked John. We don't follow anything, Yoga said. We are just living. We have done meditation, said George. Oh, I do my meditation, mantra meditation. They began to ask questions, the same questions Prabhupada had heard so many times before, after hearing. So this is interesting because what Prabhupada is saying about President Kennedy, how he was killed, even though he was a very famous man, that happened to one of these Beatles that is meeting here. John Lennon was a very famous person, but he was assassinated in America. Someone just came as he was on his morning walk and just shot him. Bang, bang, bang. John Lennon was gone. So it's like Prabhupada could foresee what is coming on the way for the Beatles. He's giving an example of President John Kennedy. But actually one of them also, that is how he was killed, John Lennon. So Prabhupada was very, very, very gifted. Yeah, he could foresee that these persons are famous, but they are far away from Krishna consciousness. They are leaders. If they take up to Krishna consciousness, and that will help them, and then also help their followers. So one of them, George Harrison, he became a little bit serious, and he's the one that sponsored the Krishna book. Prabhupada didn't have money, but he had a desire to print Krishna book. So George Harrison is the one that sponsored Krishna book. And Prabhupada wanted to have a big temple in London, and he offered his manor, which is called nowadays Bhaktivedanta manor. That was given by George Harrison. So in that way, they offered very nice service to Prabhupada. Like today, I mean, even today we use this Govindam Adi Purusham prayers. That also was done by the Beatles. In that Govindam Adi Purusham, George Harrison is the one that is playing the guitar and Jamuna is singing. So that is from the album called the Hare Krishna Temple. Those songs are there. Hare Krishna Temple. Very, very nice. That was done by the devotees with George Harrison, one of the Beatles. So in that way, we can see Prabhupada was empowered to draw all these great people to Krishna consciousness. And we can also take inspiration from them. I mean, from Prabhupada. Yes, he was empowered to do certain things. I was just looking into internet about the meaning of the Acharya. So he says that in Vayu, this is Vayu Purana. He says, Achinoti ya Shastartam. That the Acharya is one who knows the import of all the Vedic literature and abide by their rules and regulations, and personally follows or practices and teaches his disciples to act in the same way. A scripture from the Sri Sampradaya called Prapanamrita Tapana explains that a founder Acharya is known by 5 symptoms. 1, he is Udarika, which means he is a savior of everyone. The Prapanamrita Tapana goes on to explain that those who come after him in his institution act, or who come after him and act as spiritual master. Spiritual masters are Upakarika, or his helpers. And then it further says that they are never to be equated, or even after hundreds of generations, with the founder Acharya. Second, number 2, he is Dina Bhaya. Dina means very fallen, and Bhaya means to remove fear or fearless. The founder Acharya removes the fear of all conditioned souls by his teachings, whose nature is that anyone, anywhere takes shelter of them will become fearless. Number 3, the third symptom of founder Acharya is that he gives purport to scriptures carrying the Vaishnava Siddhanta, such as Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and makes them available to the world as in Mahagranth, or great books. Number 4, he also gives purport to the songs of the Vaishnava Acharyas. Number 5, the fifth is that his name become identical with the philosophy of Lord Vishnu himself. Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya of ISKCON exactly corresponds to this ancient definition of founder Acharya. So those are the 5 symptoms of founder Acharya. So when we look into Prabhupada's life, he commented on the songs of Narottam, Das Thakur, Bhakti Thakur, and other acharyas. And Prabhupada gave the commentary on Bhagavad Gita. He gave the commentary also on Srimad Bhagavatam. And he taught us also by his examples. So the difference between Guru and Acharya is that Acharya is more like someone who teaches by examples. And he is well versed in all Vedic literature. Generally, in Vedic tradition, a guru may not be a big scholar. He may not. But the founder Acharya is someone who is versed in all Vedic literature and who live by the teachings of those scriptures. That's a founder Acharya. Whereas a guru is someone who removes our ignorance by training disciples. But Acharya is more than that. Acharya is someone who is more like a Shiksha Guru, because his teachings are followed by all people worldwide. So in that way, Srila Prabhupada is the Shiksha Guru of ISKCON for all time, in that even the devotees who will come thousands of years to come, they will be following the Bhagavatam that we are following, which Prabhupada has given. And of course, some things may change, but the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita that Prabhupada has given will always remain the same. So that is founder Acharya, that he gave purports to the scriptures and the teachings of other acharyas. So when you read Prabhupada's books, you found that he will quote Sridhar Swami said this about this point. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he called so many acharyas, and then sometimes you say Ramanuja Acharya, he made this comment about this point. So when you read Prabhupada's books, you get all the commentaries of the acharyas and the Puranas and the Vedas. If you carefully read Prabhupada's books, you see that he has so many passages from different acharyas, as well as different other scriptures, like Jaivadama or Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You find Prabhupada quoting those books. So that is the founder Acharya. Yes, that he gives commentary on Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and also he gave us his commentary on the songs of the Acharyas. So in that way, Prabhupada exemplified this ancient definition of founder Acharya. Okay, now it's 5 to 9. Do you have any question? Or should I read furthermore? Do you have any questions? Now you understand the position of the founder Acharya? Huh? You understand? Okay. Huh? Okay. Yes, Prabhu? Okay. Let's do it.
Thank you so much for wonderful explanation. I have one question. As you mentioned, the meaning of founder Acharya, and Srila Prabhupada is our ever Siksha Guru. So is there need we should have our personal Siksha Guru, or is it we just follow Prabhupada?
Speak louder. I can't hear you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, as you said, Srila Prabhupada is our eternal Siksha Guru. So there is need we should have some personal Siksha Guru, or just we should just follow
Siksha
Prabhupada?
Guru. Yes, see, even if you choose someone as your Shiksha Guru, that person is giving you Shiksha from Prabhupada's books. You understand? It's just like when you go to university. They have a standard of books for chemistry. Yes. It doesn't matter which teacher is teaching you, but that teacher will teach you from those books that are standard books for teaching in university. Yes, understand? So Prabhupada's books will always be the standard books for the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But there will be some people who will act as shikshas to others, but they will be shiksharing you from the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita or some other teachings of Prabhupada. So in that way, Prabhupada remained the main shiksha guru for the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Yeah. Just like in one of our books called Upadeshamrita, there in the preface, Prabhupada writes, this Hare Krishna movement is conducted under the supervision of Rupa Goswami. You did Bhakti Shastra, some of you. Okay. Under the supervision of Sri Rupa Goswami. We are not guided by Sri Rupa Goswami, but his books. Yes, that's another example. Okay. Yes, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Like Maharaj, you said like Srila Prabhupada has given, whatever he has given cannot be changed. So at the same time, there are few things like in management aspect.
Oh, you're speaking fast, I didn't hear.
Yeah. So like then how to identify there is deviation or it's innovation? So there is always like in material world, things are changing. So we sometimes have to adjust something for the preaching aspect. So how to identify what is deviation and what is innovation?
Can someone explain what it's saying?
If management would implement something, how can we identify if it is innovation or if it is deviation?
Okay. Innovation or deviation. Yes. Basically, innovation will mean like, say, if you have a building that is painted, but the paint is old and it's peeling off. If you paint it newly, that is renovation, or you could say innovation. Deviation means that you destroy that building and then in that place you build another building with another design, not following the original design. So in a similar way, if someone come up with a new idea which is not in line with the original idea, and that we can take as deviation, which is not in line with our scriptures and the teachings of the Acharya. You understand? Just like I can teach Bhagavad Gita differently. You understand? But I have to follow the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Someone may come and teach you Bhagavad Gita differently. For example, I teach Arjuna's questions in Bhagavad Gita. Or I teach Krishna's names, the meaning of Krishna's names in Bhagavad Gita. But I get them from different Acharyas and from the Bhagavad Gita itself. But if I teach something that is not from the Bhagavad Gita itself, then that's deviation. It has to be from the Bhagavad Gita. Whether by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sridhar Swami, Baladev, Vidabhusan, or Prabhupada's Gita. So deviation can mean something that is not upheld by the scripture and the Acharyas. So how do we know? We have to know the scripture first. Yes. We have to know the teachings of the Acharyas. And we can easily tell when something is deviation, because it will be different from the teachings of the Acharyas. Sometimes we want to change just to attract more people, but sometimes we go off the rails. It's just like sometimes medicine is too strong for children, so you want to add a little bit of water so that the children can drink. But if you add too much water, and then you end up with water, not the medicine, and then it wouldn't work. So in a similar way, in Krishna consciousness, we can add some decorations there and there. Or we can add a little bit of water. But the essence of Krishna consciousness should remain. But when we end up watering, and then you end up with water. Yes. Sometimes we preach this way of preaching called bridge preaching. Bridge means you create a platform whereby people can come and cross without swimming the samsara, the ocean. And then they come, but they don't cross over. They just stand on the bridge. So then from the bridge, you have to supply them prasadam, supply them things. They stand on the bridge, they don't come to the other side. Sometimes it's like that. So sometimes it's difficult. Yes, especially outside of India. That some people don't want to surrender. They want the benefits of bhakti. And then you end up with this whole bunch of people who don't value Krishna consciousness, who just want to get the benefits of Krishna consciousness. And then, so many things come out from there. Of course, we don't have to be too extreme also, because it's Kali Yuga. We have to create the balance. But sometimes, it's like that. So how do we know if it's a deviation or renovation or innovation? We should look in terms of what the scripture says, what the teachings of the Acharyas say. But sometimes it's difficult. Yes. To tell, because everyone feels he has a right to do things the way he prefers or in his own style. It's very, very difficult to tell. Even if you see, you can't just tell people, because that may discourage them. So it's not easy, but we can tell by how much they are deviating from the teachings of the Acharyas. But at the same time, it's difficult. Because nowadays, Kali Yuga is very strong. So people think of so many things as means for innovation. Some of these things work. Yes. But sometimes they don't work. So everyone is trying to preach according to his areas of needs. Kali Yuga is very difficult. Yeah, sometimes people have to be innovated. Okay, anybody else? Okay, maybe we can stop here. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki.
Jai. His Holiness Bhakti Narsimha Swami Maharaj ki Jai.
Okay, thank you. Who gave me this?